human race. Fishermen say it's wonders and signs. We are living in the end of times. Where is the love we once used to know? Where is the kindness we used to show? The heart of man is so full of hate. Let's make a change before it's too late. Too much killing, too much blood spilling. Each and every morning, it's weeping and mourning. We've got to stop all the crimes, erase the violence, let our voice be heard. We can't sit in silence. The hope of tomorrow is in our use today. We've got to live in love. Crime and violence don't pay.
Good morning once more. We are now in our Cup Chat segment here on WEFM's Activated Mornings. This morning, we are joined in studio by Mr. Lorenzo Barber, who is the Systems Administrator, and we'll get to where just now, and Miss Monifa Allen, who is the Assistant Comptroller, Planning, Research, and Human Resource Development. Should I add officer or personnel to the end of this? And our topic this morning, securing the gateway, customs preparedness for the new Kingstown port. Good morning, lady and gentleman.
Good morning, ladies. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everyone.
How y'all doing? I don't have your voice drop. You don't have to. Let's start again. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
All right.
How are you feeling this morning?
We're excited. Yes, we're excited.
Okay, that's great.
In international trade.
Okay.
That's good.
All right. So let's get right into it then. Why are you excited? And why do you say that this is a new chapter?
Well, as everyone knows, recently over the last weekend, we opened a new port of entry for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And we're excited about it because it's a bigger port. It's we are excited to have more ships, more importations, and customs plays a very critical, vital role in ensuring that we have a safe and secure port operation. So we would be balancing trade facilitation with border protection and collecting revenue at this new port. So it's very exciting times for us.
Okay.
Yes, one of the benefits of the new port, as Ms. Anna said, is that it's bigger, right? So it provides more space for us to operate in a safe and efficient manner. It also provides more convenience for our customers and our stakeholders to do their jobs, and customers to come and clear their items, and us as officers to do our examinations.
Okay. I know the port just opened, but what has the feedback been like so far from customs officers as well as persons who are doing business transactions as well? What have you heard so far? Well, from your personal standpoint as customs officers, how has that transition been so far? What experience have you had so far?
Well, so far on our side, we're settling in. We have moved a few of our key services to the new port, and the officers they themselves are very excited. They were recently trained. They are ready for this new environment.
Okay.
Yes, officers have been trained, right? We've done several walkthroughs because we've worked along with port in the initial stages as well as in the final run up to the operations. And it's new, right? Because there are a lot of new technologies involved. There's a ticketing system for non-commercial transactions, and we're just going through the process of settling in. So yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And the customers?
The customers, I haven't heard much feedback because I think on Tuesday, was it Tuesday? On Tuesday, there was a ship that was called on Tuesday. There was also one yesterday. As far as I could tell, everything went smoothly. Everything is going well. I haven't heard any complaints. So, because although it's a new environment, it's not something that we're unfamiliar with. We know this environment very well. We know the operations of the port. We know what was happening in Camden Park and at the transit shed. And Kingstown is a duplication of that, just better.
Okay.
Right? So, as Lorenzo was saying, in preparation for the move, we had meetings with the Port Authority. We did walkthroughs. We walked through with the managers. We walked through with our technical team, with IT, and we also walked through with the staff that would be assigned at the Port Authority and at the port, and that helped in preparing us for the move and ensuring that we had everything that we needed, that our process flow would coincide with the new facilities.
Could you explain, even though there have been interviews and explanations on the difference between MPOC and what was operating before, could you explain in probably the simplest way that you can think of the difference between the Modern Port Operating Complex and, should I say, the Port Authority, or whatever operation was taking place before?
I think that would be a question for the
Port,
Port
yeah.
For the
Authority.
okay,
Port.
okay, okay.
Yes. Lorenzo, would you like to just explain, just for our viewers, the difference?
Well, from what
Quickly.
was explained to us, the Port Authority will now act as a regulatory body, right? So they will oversee port operations, ensuring that the port meets ISPS codes, international security protocols, and everything runs as it should, right, for our international port. With regards to the everyday running in terms of operations, managing the port itself, then the Modern Port Operating Company would be the one responsible for that. So they will be the ones who arrange the schedule for ships and deal with the offloading, as well as the ones that we will be in contact with.
Okay. All right. So we recognize. Okay. So let's talk about conducting business there. The seamless transition of sorts. You want to just maybe elaborate a bit on that for us?
So, in terms of the operations, like I said, we had our walkthroughs. We assigned. So far, we know what's coming, right? We know it's the busy period is upon us.
I was wondering what you would. Okay.
Christmas is upon us, right? The barrel concession is upon us. So we anticipate an influx of barrels of containers. So we really try to focus on that on the custom side. So we ensure that the staff that is there are we have a manager there for the transit shed, the manager that was at the Camden Park. We have that same staff from Camden Park and the transit shed at the port. We have a dedicated scanning team because we have installed a palletized scanner as well as a mobile container scanner. So we have a dedicated team who training wrapped up for them last week. They were doing some intense training in scanning identification of images on the scanner. So in collaboration with the Port Authority, the customs were trained to operate the scanners. So we have a big enough team where we are able to rotate. We have replacements, and so we have mostly those services available so that our customers can have the valuation of their cargo, their barrels, their containers. That service would be available and ready to go.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, is available, I should say. We're operation.
Two things, right, off the top of my head that I can say the port provides is additional space for us to work, as well as modern technologies for us to use to perform our duties. Now, the scanners are there so that we can perform less intrusive examinations, right? And that's very important because in the trade facilitation, right, as much as possible, we want to make sure that our customers don't have to spend a lot of time on the port, right? The cargo comes in, the Port Authority MPOC finds it, right? They bring it up for us to examine. When we go through the process of scanning, right, we're able to determine if we need to do a targeted manual examination or physical examination, or if we can say, okay, these items don't have any illicit items or anything that might need to be inspected physically, right, to ensure that they meet the laws and regulations of civil and grenadines. An additional factor is the space, right? Bigger space means that we have more space to work, it's a safer environment. One of the issues that we used to have in Camden Park is that we would be doing examinations while they're unstuffing containers or they're storing containers right next to us, right, which created a hazard in our environment, right? So now there are dedicated areas for examination so that wouldn't happen.
Okay. Curious question. So we're hearing a lot about scanning, right? And because with this new port, it means that we are going to get a lot more containers. There's possibly going to be a lot more trade or improved trade. I know normally with the examinations of, let's say, barrels or other containers, etc., that the inspection is normally done in front of the customer. Is it a case where in some instances the whatever is coming in is going to be pre-scanned, or is all of it going to happen in front of the customer?
Well, scanning would take place without the customer because you're not actually, you don't have to actually break their consignment. You're not going into their consignment or tampering with it in any way, right? You're simply scanning it, you're taking an image, right? And then you're just reviewing the image.
Scanning, sorry if I interrupt. Scanning would not tell you specifically exactly what is in the consignment. When you're scanning for certain things that would indicate whether or not you need to open this consignment to see if there is anything dangerous, illicit within that consignment. So even if it's scanning, you're not seeing precisely exactly what is in the consignment. But the trained officers would know what indicators to look for that would let them know if it's something that they would need to look further.
Right.
Right. And additionally, as you asked, right, we do not open consignments outside of the presence of the owner or the agent of the owner, right? So if you assign somebody as an agent on your behalf, right, then we'll open the consignment in front of them, right? So that's the case.
All right. So the reason for me asking the question is that we don't want for persons to get the impression that because port is going to be so busy now that they could slip things through, let's say in their barrels, etc. Because you have the machinery now, the technology available now, persons need to be not try to do anything illegal and not think that they can trick the system. So that was really the reason for asking the question. Yeah.
Yes. As customs organization has several mandates, right, and including border security and facilitation of legitimate trade and travel. Right, so we want to, tell the public and tell all our stakeholders that with the modern port, right, our intention is to increase our capacity, right, perform more risk management, right, so that we can do targeted inspections and, allow persons who are legitimately transacting to have an easier time.
Okay.
As we speak, do you still have personnel at Camden Park or the old Kingstown port?
Currently, yes, we have operations at the Kingstown port and at Camden Park, and this would be for as long as the management of the Port Authority maintains the facilities open. So the Port Authority and MPark, they're in charge of the facility at the port, and the customs will be there to perform the services of customs. So as long as that maintains, the customs presence would be at the port of entry.
Yes. So while we're on that topic, right, this is important to understand the differentiation between MPAC and Port Authority from the Customs and Excise Organization. Now, MPAC is the custodian of the cargo. What that means is that they are contracted with the vessel that brings the cargo to St. Vincent and the Grenadines to store the cargo for a period of time on their behalf, right? So the cargo can come, offload, and go, right? And MPAC will be the one responsible for that storage. Now, the Customs and Excise Organization is the Border Protection Agency, right? So we're responsible for examining those items and working along with other stakeholders such as health, vet, phytosanitary to ensure that, no unwanted item comes into the country, right? And it's not just illegal items like guns and ammunition, but we play a large role in ensuring that no diseases come into the country through the phytosanitary health and vet as well.
Okay. We've been talking a lot about importation, though. What about export? What about the export aspect?
Export is going to be improving, and I love that you brought it up because we are in our pilot phase of the first service of the Vinci single window for trade, which is the CARICOM e-certificate of origin, and this is a tool for exportation within CARICOM. And Roleza, you want to give us some more information there?
So, certificate of origin is basically a document proving that an item was manufactured or produced within a country. Now, it's used within the CARICOM region to certify that items are manufactured in any one of the CARICOM countries and eligible for preferential treatment when it gets to the other country. So, for example, if someone in St. Vincent, a supplier, were to ship bananas to Barbados, those bananas were grown in St. Vincent. Now, they would present a certificate of origin to the Customs and Excise Department, which is the authorizing body for that. And we would say, okay, these were produced, we would certify it, the quantities, the amounts, and so on, and we would stamp it, and they would send that document on to Barbados. So when it gets to Barbados, the buyer can now present that to the customs in Barbados and say, okay, these were produced in St. Vincent, and they would not pay any duty on those bananas. Right? So that's where the preferential treatment comes in. Now, the e-certificate allows persons to submit that application for the certificate online, which makes it a lot easier process because previously they would have to submit those documents in triplicate or sometimes even 4 or 5 copies based on the requirements of the importing country. Now, they simply submit one application online. The customs assessors would vet the application, ensure that everything is correct, certify them, and a notification would be sent back to the exporter that the certificate was approved. They can then print them if need be, or they can send them electronically to the supplier in the importing country.
So is there like a list of products that would be allowed duty-free in another country? As I don't expect you to necessarily list them out for me here, but where can we find this information? Because I think one of the problems for many people, especially with small businesses, we don't know this information, right? You don't know this type of information. So where can we go to get this information?
All right, there are two documents, right, that would basically help you to understand the process. The first one is the Treaty of Chaguaramas, which is what brought the CARICOM single market into being, right? That treaty would tell you how to determine if an item qualifies for preferential treatment based on origin, right? So some items would be based on wholly produced. So if everything was made and sourced in St. Vincent, versus other items would be, okay, you can import a certain amount from outside of CARICOM, and once you do manufacturing on it, right, then when you export the manufactured good, then it would still qualify for the treatment, right? So the CARICOM Treaty of Chaguaramas would provide that. Also, the CARICOM Common External Tariff, right? The CET, right, would also list all items by tariff, and that would have additional information as well, right? The Common External Tariff can be found on the customs website.
Okay.
And also, you can feel free to contact the Customs and Excise Department for more information on exportation of goods that you have, e-certificates, etc.
Okay, this is good information because I mean, we're hearing a lot about the port, and many persons are just thinking about import, but it's also a facility to allow for there to be more export. And if we're able to trade better with other countries, or even like small businesses being able to have their products sold in other Caribbean islands, and this is a plus, all right? So this is how we get the port working for us. Sorry.
All right. So you have the training of your staff to familiarize themselves with everything new that is taking place. And in the example of what just took place, what about the customers? I think one of the mistakes that we usually make is to assume that people have the information, even though you're doing things like this radio interview, TV interviews, and so on. But sometimes people are not looking and listening, and they'll come to you when they get to you and they would not know certain things. So how are you ensuring that they get the necessary information, your customers?
Okay, so we are working on a communication plan where we have to do some intense outreach, because not just for the new port, we have a lot of initiatives going on within customs, and we really want to reach out to all our customers so that they understand the services. But last week we collaborated with the Port Authority. We filmed a video, a mini film that would basically give the customers an idea of what the process flow is, what they can expect when they visit the new port to clear their barrels, to clear their consignments, right? And we could look out for this very shortly. I don't want to tell you exactly when because I don't have that information, but it should be out on API and on social media very shortly. And because we know that busy period is coming up, we know people are going to want to know, okay, what's going to be happening? How
Yeah.
are we supposed to operate there? And there's going to be a ticketing system that would ensure that it's basically first come, first serve, and people would have a more seamless experience at the clearance. So, but this video would be out soon so that they would have more information. But we are actively working on content and outreach for our clients. So,
I'm smiling because customs is generally viewed as the bad guys. Right? So I think part of that also has to do with possibly changing the image and having persons understand the role of customs or customs officers here in SPG.
All right. We want to give the listeners an opportunity to call as well. I'm not sure that we would take a break. So, listeners, the lines are open. If you have any questions, you can give us a call, 457-9997. You can reach us through WhatsApp or through the landline number. We won't take a break yet. Who are some of the stakeholders that are involved in your activities, and what is the relationship like? How are you working with them going forward?
Well,
Okay,
okay.
so
The main
stick up here.
Oh, we have a
We
call.
have a call. Hi, caller. Good morning.
Hi, morning. I'm on the program, right?
Morning.
Yes, you are. You're live. Yes.
Okay, good. Interesting program, but I just want to make a point. Right? You asked the question about expectation, and the officers, while they did a good job of answering, right? I just want to say that because they're talking to a largely unknown public, right? They should refrain from using limiting their use of technical terms, right? For example, the term William produced was used, right? In simple language, that simply means origin. So you want to export something to the UK, for example, in order to get preferential treatment. The items should originate from St. Vincent. Okay, and once that is ascertained, you would get the CARICOM document, of course, right? So certified by customs. For example, Roleza, I think I may be wrong here though. That you used to make those car steering wheel covers or something like that.
Yes, that's correct.
I'm not too sure if you're still in that. But let's say, for example, you got a market in the UK for those things, right? And you want to export. All you simply need to do is provide evidence that those things were produced in St. Vincent. You go to a broker, write up the CARICOM certificate, the custom certified, and you prepare your shipping bill, and you're able to export that to the UK, where you would be given preferential treatment pertaining to the payment of duty.
Okay.
So I just wanted to make that point.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Okay, all right.
Thanks, caller. Okay, bye-bye. All right, you're back on. I didn't even write it down. You're on a point. You're answering something.
Oh, how the stakeholders and how they come into
Right.
play. Yeah.
Yes.
We have
Okay. We have a
call.
call. Hi, Daniel. Morning.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Simple question. The new port open. I want to ask the gentleman there and the lady, when people go into the port to clear anything and so, then what they have to how they supposed to prepare themselves to go to the port? For instance, if they have to put on vests, hard hat, hard shoes, etc., etc. Because I get myself in a little problem in Camden Park with the same thing. I have vests, hard hat, hard shoes in my container there. Well, it wasn't really my container, it was another guy container, but we went and played them, and we have vests and things there, all them things. And when we reach there, they tell us we have to have one vest and so on, and we have to go and buy vests. So I'm just asking them, they should tell the nation what they have to prepare themselves to when they go to the port.
Okay.
That's just my simple question.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Daniel.
All right. Well, yes, that was a very good question. In terms of the new security protocols, right, it will be required to wear whole clothes, right? So no ripped items, no sleeveless and so on while on the port. Bearing in mind that there are two different types of clearance operations that go on. There's non-commercial, which will be the regular barrel and boxes, the courier items, and then the commercial transactions, which are done by business places. Now, the areas where the business place items are stored, which is the break bulk cargo shed, or if it's a full container that they come to offload, those areas will require you to wear your hard hat and your vest, right, as well as an identification or a temporary port pass. In the areas where non-commercial items are stored, it would just be a case where you need to wear your whole clothes, right? No obscene or profane items, right? Preferably whole shoes, right? Just in case. But because of the nature of the area, you will not be required to wear a hard hat.
Okay.
Okay.
And
That's the area where just regular persons are going to clear a barrel or box, right? So you won't be required to wear visibility vests or hard hats because you're not going into the
operating
secure
area.
operating area of the port.
okay.
But if you're going to clear a whole container, like the gentleman said, because he said he had items in a container and he had to go clear them, in those areas, you will be required to wear your safety equipment.
Yes.
Okay.
Right? So that's the distinction. So you have to know what exactly you come to the port to do, right? And based on that, that will be the requirement for your attire.
And you bring your own safety gear?
Yes, if you're going to the areas where the containers are being stuffed, or to the break bulk cargo shed where they would store palletized items for businesses, you will be required to bring your own security gear.
Yeah, and these business places, they usually do have, like you said, he had it in the container, but on the port currently, in order to even go onto that area, you have to be already dressed in your personal protective equipment.
Okay.
Right. Even at Camden Park at Transit Shed, you'll notice that workers and employees of businesses would also have those on already, right? But now, thanks to the modern port, we're able to differentiate areas so that persons who only come to clear non-commercial items, right, don't have to interact with those areas that require it.
Okay.
And if you get to the port and you don't have them, do you have, do I have to go out into Kingstown to see who is selling them, or could I get that there at the port, whether to buy or to be given to me?
I'm not sure. I don't want to speak on behalf of the port.
Okay.
But I believe it may be available. But like I said, most of the persons who will be going to that area are business people who already
like
understand,
brokers,
yes,
so they already so they already
and
have.
agents who understand that this is the requirement.
Yeah.
Okay.
For ordinary folks, it wouldn't be necessary.
All right.
All right then.
And just don't shop in any strapless business.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Bearing in mind that some individuals also come to clear vehicles, right? So once vehicles on report, those will be in areas as well that may require you to wear your vest, right? So bear that in mind when you are coming to do those type of transactions.
Okay, so let's slow down this piece, right? So if I'm coming to clear a vehicle, I should be dressed in PPE as well?
Yeah, be prepared to be dressed in PPE based on where they will be stored on the port, yeah.
Okay.
Right?
So we're
And
just going to be keeping stuff in our vehicles now,
well,
in a way, in a sense.
How often do you come
Well,
to the
that
port
too.
with your vehicle? And additionally, right, you can have your broker who will already have that equipment bring it out for you.
Okay. Okay. All right, good. This is good information to know. Okay.
All right then. I think we probably could get back to the question from before, or I don't know if you have a we were talking about the stakeholders and the role that they play, because when persons come to the port, they may see different persons there. Well, I keep saying the same thing, right? The customs on the port, the port authority on the port, right? But who are the stakeholders and how do they come into play?
Well, we have a lot of stakeholders because we're a border agency. So as mentioned before, we have the Ministry of Health, we have Ministry of Agriculture, and different facets of the Ministry of Agriculture. Such
Before
as,
you go on, sorry, for those things like the Ministry of Health and so on, is it that they usually have the person on the port already, or when you need them, you call and they would send the person?
the Ministry of Health has an officer assigned to the port, right? And they have been given an office. Even since the transition, they've had that person. Vet, on the other hand, did not, right? So facilities have been made for them. Phytosanitary was based at the geese shed, right? So they have a facility at the new port as well, right? So as much as possible, they try to have offices for these regular stakeholders so that they're in the area present for examinations now.
Okay.
Right, so it's an easier process now to get your documents started.
Because success at this new port is gonna rely heavily on collaboration, interagency collaboration. So we're really committed with working along with the Port Authority, with the police, with Ministry of Trade and Health and Agriculture, because this is what is going to determine how successful we are. So interagency stakeholder collaboration is very important.
Okay.
Right. And the Customs and Excise Department are introducing several initiatives. Last year, we introduced the e-payment platform, which allows customers to go online and make payments for commercial transactions. Now, one of the requirements for that is that you do register with Customs as a user for e-payment, right? There's a form for that that you would submit via email to the Customs and Excise Department. And once we have vetted and approved, you will send your login, and then you can log in and make payments using debit and credit card for commercial transactions. So you'd have a broker do your declaration, and they would send you an assessment notice or send you the amount, and then you can log in. The declaration will be visible there, and you simply just click through and make payment. Along with the e-certificate, right, we are also in the process of sourcing the necessary equipment, right, and doing the necessary training to go paperless as it relates to commercial transactions. So business places now would no longer have to be, toting sometimes those large declarations with attached documents. They simply submit everything online. We do the necessary checks. And it would also improve collaboration because we are in the process of getting the stakeholders access to our platform so that they can do their approvals online as well.
Okay. Interesting times.
Yes, and with anything new, there's always teaching, there's always kinks to iron out. And we're really trying to work with our our various stakeholders so that we could iron out the kinks, iron out any teething problems, because we want to create a seamless experience for our customers.
And a bit more modernized as well. Right. Okay.
All right. Hi, we're coming to the end of our interview. Actually, we just have a couple of minutes left. So if there's anybody who has a question, now is the time to do so before it gets to 9 o'clock and we wrap up our interview. Is there anything else that is of utmost importance right now that you need to share with the listeners that perhaps we did not ask? No, there's a lot of information that people need to get, but sometimes there's information that you need now and some information that you could probably wait until later to get. So anything that they need to get right now?
Well,
we did
with
not
regards
mention.
to that, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. However, right, we are beefing up our social media presence, right? So we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on
Under what name though?
Customs and Excise.
Okay.
Right. There's also the customs website, and that is customs.gov.bc, right, where we post any new updates that we might have. One exciting thing that happened most recently is that we became a member of the World Customs Organization, which opens us up to international assistance, right, as well as access to trade facilitation information and other beneficial items for the Customs and Excise Department, right, so that we can improve, right, not just a modern port, but modern processes as well. Right, and all that information will be on the Customs website. Again, it's customs.gov.bc.
Okay, and the social media page, I'm checking on Facebook, but I've seen something here with the last post is 2022. So just in case I have the wrong one, I'm seeing Customs and Excise Department, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. That's it? Okay, all right.
That's probably the wrong one.
Okay, all right.
Final thing from me. When we have traffic talk, I've been hearing the officers talk about the new lanes, or we now have 3 lanes because of the opening of the new port. Where exactly is the entrance to the port for persons who may not know at this point still?
All right, so the entrance is at Braxa building, Agricultural Input Warehouse. You can drive that road, and there's also an entrance at the Koreas, between Koreas and Little Tokyo. The exit is at the Leeward bus terminal, the entrance to Leeward bus terminal.
Okay. So the exit is the one that is closest to me. Okay, so the entrance, that's at, for persons who may not know where Braxa and Agricultural Input Warehouse, that is closest to what was called Bottom Tongue, right? Yeah, closest to Bottom Tongue, that's the entrance. All right.
All right.
So
just to double check, well, I double checked something. So the correct, at least for the Facebook page, it's St. Vincent and the Grenadines Custom and Excise Department. All right. So that is where you go. It is very updated. It's not 2022. It's very updated. So that's where you would go to get all the information. There's also the number available there, as well as the website. Okay. And we have a call. So we'll take this as a final call. Hi, caller. Good morning.
Good morning to the operator. Yeah.
good morning.
Yeah. I'm just want to find out what is it.
Okay. Are you you listen to a device? You have a device on?
Yeah, I have the radio. We just turn it up.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Much
the
better.
time that the port would be open and closed. Yeah.
Okay,
Tell me.
the port opens as the regular time, which is 8 o'clock until 3:45 is the usual time for warehouses to be open. Based on businesses, they can apply for extended hours, right, if they need to do operations in overtime. So they would make the application to the Customs and Excise Department as well as MPOC, right? And once approved, they can work beyond that time. Now, we do operate extended hours during the Christmas season, right? That is to be determined by MPOC and Customs after discussion to see which days will be extended and for what hours. But the regular opening hours is from 8 until 3:45. Right? Bearing in mind as well that the cash closes at 3 o'clock for customs and excise department.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right then. Thank you.
Good.
All right. And with that, we have come to the end of our interview. This morning, we were speaking on the topic securing the gateway, customs preparedness for the new Kingstown port. In studio is Miss Monifa Allen and Mr. Lorenzo Barber. And at this time, I just want to give you the opportunity to leave the listeners with some final words, whatever you think you would like to leave them with. You know, they say ladies first. No pressure.
Okay, so thank you very much for having me here, ladies. It was a pleasure to be here and to talk to our listeners. And I just want to invite the public to work with us in this new era, and to just remember that with everything new, there might be some challenges, but don't be afraid to reach out to the customs, and we can work together to make sure that it's a success. The customs has been working really hard to build capacity in our staff, to build better relationships with our stakeholders, and to get more information out to our customers. So I just invite them to work with us as well. And I think we would be moving toward not just a more modern port, but a more modern customs administration.
Yes. Thank you very much, ladies, for having me here. Thank you, listeners and callers, for your questions. Yes. So, as stated, right, these are new times. It's a new processes, new port. We're working along with our stakeholders to make the transition as seamless as possible. The goal is to ensure that we improve our efficiency. Right? We improve the processes. We ensure that we facilitate trade as much as possible, right? And legitimate trade as much as possible. I just want to say that. While performing our border protection duties. We are in the process due to the Caribbean digital transformation in implementing new and modern processes, right? So we're going to have most of the processes that we do manually now be submitted electronically, and that would also affect stakeholders. So licenses, permits that you would usually have to go to various departments to apply for will now be in one central location. You do everything online, they are approved online, so it will actually improve the efficiency of the services that we and our stakeholders offer. And that's it. It's exciting times.
It is 9:05 and we are going to head straight into our ACCB currency exchange.